"Don't tell anyone I'm here," little boy whispered. But 399 Hell's Angels had other plans. The Arizona desert sun beats down with a relentless, scorching intensity, turning the asphalt of the highway into a shimmering mirage. In this vast, unforgiving landscape, the Dusty Spoon Diner stands as a lonely oasis, a beacon for travelers and truckers seeking a hot meal and a cold drink. But on that particular Saturday, the diner wasn't just hosting its usual crowd. The ground began to tremble. A low rumble growing louder by the second echoed off the canyon walls. It was the sound of engines, hundreds of them. When the dust settled, the parking lot of the Dusty Spoon was transformed. 399 members of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club had descended upon the small establishment. Chrome gleamed under the desert sky. Leather vests adorned with patches fluttered in the dry wind, and the air smelled of gasoline and freedom. To the average observer, it was a scene of intimidation. To 7-year-old Tommy Callaway, hiding behind the overflowing dumpster in the alleyway, it was a nightmare come true. Tommy had been living in the shadows of the diner for weeks, surviving on scraps left by the kitchen staff and sleeping in a makeshift nest of cardboard boxes. He was invisible, or so he thought. But when the massive figure of Dean Hargrove, the club president, stepped off his bike and walked toward the back entrance for a cigarette, their worlds collided. Tommy froze. His heart hammered against his ribs like a trapped bird. Dean, a man with a beard like steel wool and eyes that had seen too much of the world's darkness, spotted the small movement behind the bin. He approached slowly, his heavy boots crunching on the gravel. Tommy didn't run. He had nowhere left to go. Instead, he did the only thing his terrified mind could conjure. He looked up at the towering biker, tears streaming through the dirt on his cheeks, and whispered, "Please, don't tell anyone I'm here." That whisper, fragile as glass yet heavy with desperation, stopped Dean Hargrove in his tracks. He looked down at the frail boy, seeing not a nuisance, but a reflection of every lost soul he'd ever encountered. In that moment, the hardened exterior of the club president cracked. Dean didn't call the police. He didn't shout for attention. He simply knelt, bringing himself to eye level with the child, and said softly, "You're safe now, son. No one is going to hurt you." Dean signaled to Colt, his road captain. What started as a secret between two men quickly rippled through the Brotherhood. Within an hour, 13 key members knew the truth. These were men society often labeled as outlaws, men who lived by their own code, but as they gathered in a huddle away from the prying eyes of the diners, a different kind of law took hold, the law of compassion. They realized Tommy had no one, no parents, no home, no voice, until today. The transformation of the Dusty Spoon's atmosphere was miraculous. Ruth Adler, the diner's owner, a woman with a heart as big as the state she lived in, listened to Dean's proposal with tears in her eyes. When the bikers asked if she would take Tommy in as an emergency foster parent, she didn't hesitate. "He's already family," she declared, wiping her hands on her apron. "I just didn't know his name until now." But the Hells Angels didn't stop at offering a roof. They mobilized. Harold Jennings, an attorney who rode with the club's support chapter, stepped forward to navigate the complex legal labyrinth of guardianship. Even Sheriff Wayne Prescott, a man who had spent decades keeping an eye on the club's activities, found himself working alongside them. Seeing the genuine care in Dean's eyes, the sheriff fast-tracked the paperwork, recognizing that sometimes justice looks less like handcuffs and more like a second chance. The generosity of the riders was staggering. Passing around leather caps and open palms, the 399 bikers collected over $47,000 in cash before the sun even set. It wasn't charity, it was a promise. A promise that Tommy Callaway would never hunger again, that he would have clothes on his back, books in his hands, and a future worth dreaming about. 3 months passed, and the desert bloomed in ways no one expected. Tommy was no longer a ghost behind a dumpster. He was enrolled in the local elementary school, his laugh ringing out during recess, his face clean and bright. He lived with Ruth, who treated him with the tenderness of a grandmother he never had. But perhaps the most beautiful change was the ritual that developed every Saturday. Rain or shine, the rumble of engines would return. Not hundreds this time, but a dedicated group of brothers who came to check on their little friend. They brought toys, helped with homework, and taught him how to polish a chrome fender. They had become his uncles, his protectors, his unexpected family. The community, once fearful of the black vests and skull logos, now waved as the bikes rolled into town, understanding that beneath the leather beat hearts of gold. Yet the story of Tommy Callaway rippled outward further than anyone could have predicted. It reached the deepest, darkest corner of Dean Hargrove's own life. For 14 years, Dean had carried the weight of silence, estranged from his own son due to pride and past mistakes. Watching Tommy thrive, seeing the power of simply showing up and listening, broke the dam within Dean. Inspired by the bravery of a 7-year-old whisper, Dean finally picked up the phone. He dialed a number he hadn't touched in over a decade, his voice trembling as he asked for forgiveness and a chance to rebuild. Tommy had saved more than just himself. He had sparked a chain reaction of redemption. In the end, the tale of the Dusty Spoon Diner teaches us a profound lesson. We often believe that heroism requires grand gestures, superhuman strength, or loud declarations. But the bravest act in the world is often the quietest. It is the willingness to stop, to listen to a whisper of need, and to answer with love. It is the realization that no matter how rough our exterior may look or how broken our pasts may be, we all have the capacity to be someone's guardian angel. Tommy thought he was alone in the vast Arizona desert, but he was surrounded by 399 angels on wheels who refused to let him fall. And because they listened, a little boy found a home, a town found its heart, and a father found his way back to his son. If this story touched your heart and reminded you that kindness can bloom in the most unexpected places, please like this video and share it with your friends and family. Let's spread this message of hope to millions who need to hear that no one is truly alone. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more emotional stories that restore faith in humanity. We want to hear from you. Tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? Let's see how far this story of kindness can travel. Thanks for watching.